Welcome back. Well, there's one politician that probably best embodies Donald Trump's hold on the Republican Party right this week, and it's Chuck Grassley, the senior senator from Iowa and ranking member of the Judiciary Committee. Here's what Chuck Grassley on February 13th of 2021 said about Donald Trump. He belittled and harassed elected officials across the country to get his way. He encouraged his own loyal Vice President Mike Pence to take extraordinary and unconstitutional actions during the Electoral College count. There's no doubt in my mind that President Trump's language was extreme, aggressive, and irresponsible. Now, that was Grassley's statement voting to acquit the president at the impeachment trial. Earlier this week, he said he get Trump off the hook on the Judiciary Committee report by saying, well, he didn't take, he listened to his advisors. Now, here's Chuck Grassley Saturday night with Donald Trump.
I was born at night, but not last night. So if I didn't accept the endorsement of a person that's got 91% of the Republican voters in Iowa, I wouldn't be too smart. I'm smart enough to accept that endorsement.
Well, David French, the Chuck Grassley legacy is going to be a survivor, I guess, is probably one way to look at it. But is there any better explanation of Trump's hold than Chuck Grassley these days?
I mean, look, I think here's the explanation. I live in a red bubble, Chuck. I live in a neighborhood that's about 85% Republican. And there's basically two broad categories of people. There are the people who are ready to move on from Donald Trump. They do not want him in 2024. And there are the people who are like the third bass boat in the boat parade. And the Trump supporters are very much more vocal. Many of them, not all of them, are extremely vicious. This is the voice that Republican elected officials are hearing constantly, all day, every day. The people who are ready to move on, a lot of them are exhausted. They're pulling away. They're not engaging. Yeah. And so only one voice is being heard, and it is the Trump voice. But that is not the only voice in the GOP electorate more broadly.
It may be true, but Donna Edwards, I think that's part of the problem. You know, one of the points of this show today is I wanted to make is that this Senate Judiciary Committee report was written based on Trump appointees telling what really happened. Stephanie Grisham, no matter what you think of her, is trying to warn the country about a return of Donald Trump to the White House. Why don't the former Trump officials have any sway, in your opinion, with the Republican electorate at large?
Well, I think it goes right to President Trump. I think the former president, what he does is he dismisses those people. He harasses them in his public remarks. And I think it makes many quite afraid to speak up. But, you look at somebody like Chuck Grassley, and part of the reason that Trump continues to have sway in the Republican Party is because there is no moral center and no moral clarity from senators like Chuck Grassley.
Well, Yamiche, the other thing is there seems to be no power in numbers. Everybody's afraid of, if they all join hands, they could rid the party of Trump, but they're not doing it.
They're not. And really at the heart of this is fear. And at the heart of this is the idea that the threat continues. Watching the Trump rally yesterday, and I would only do it because I was coming on Meet the Press with you, Chuck. I watched it from beginning to end. And what I saw yesterday was a president who is continuing to not only lie, but also up the ante. He was telling people last night, we're not going to have a country in 3 years. We need to take this country back. Mm-hmm. And what you see is a Republican Party that simply cannot divorce himself from the alternate reality that the former president is living in. And you see people riled up, excited about that. And I'm in talking to Democrats, they're just so worried that the energy is on the GOP side.
David French, Stephanie Grisham, is she Jose Canseco? Meaning you may not believe her on a lot of stuff, but you believe her on this?
I mean, if you're writing a book saying that Trump is unstable and lies a lot, that is not exactly news. I mean, this is something that was seen all over the United States of America for year after year after year. The problem is that his loyal fans always turn on his appointees. Trump, who was supposed to hire the best people, is always being betrayed. He still never has made a mistake. And so what we're dealing with here is it's not news. It is not news. At this point, if you don't know that already, where have you been?
That's a fair point. That's all we have for today. Thank you all for watching. Thank you, panel, for being with us. We'll be back next week in Washington, because if it's Sunday, it's Meet the Press.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Follow today's top stories and breaking news by downloading the NBC News app.